I get it.
Hey, this is your boy Skimpworst. Have you ever wanted to write a book but just needed a little help? Or maybe you've been stuck on one for months, maybe even years, just trying to start it? So today, I'm going to break down how I actually build mine, not the marketing version, the real system, every stage, exactly how it works. Let's get into it. And look, this is the real system. Every rule I'm about to show you is actually enforced in code. Every bug I mentioned actually happened and got fixed. Nothing here is a mock up. 6 real stages: ideation, vault check, the Bible, 3 writers draft, editors and judges, and the human gate. Idea in, human sign off out. Let's go stage by stage. So it starts with an idea. There are 4 real ways one gets into my system. I can just describe it, fill out a quick form, import a doc, or go through a guided walkthrough, and however it comes in, it all ends up in the same place. And if I just type it out in plain language, it actually gets checked against a real locked list of 7 genres: thriller, crime, romance, spy fiction, prestige drama, political intrigue, fantasy adventure, so it can't quietly make up a genre that doesn't exist. Yeah, all 4 of those ways end up in the same place. One intake path every single time before anything else happens. Here's a detail I actually like. If I import a doc to start a project, the system only pulls what's actually in it. It shows me exactly what it found and what it left blank. It's not filling gaps with made-up content, and that's not just a diagram I made up for this video. Those are 4 real separate functions at real line numbers in the actual pipeline code. That's ideation. Back to the assembly line. Vault check is up next. So once an idea is in, it hits the vault check. Every new idea gets compared against everything I've already shelved, and it's conservative on purpose. Most new ideas connect to nothing already shelved, and that's fine. They're not dead, just not being written right now. At its peak, this shelf actually held around 995 real seed ideas, since cleared, but that's the real scale this thing was built for. The check itself is Claude judged actually. An AI call decides if a new idea connects to anything already shelved, and it's got a real fallback too. If that direct call fails, it retries through OpenRouter instead of just failing silently. It doesn't just reject an idea and forget why either. It writes down its own reasoning. These are 2 real examples straight from the vault. That's vault check. Back to the assembly line. The Bible is up next. Once an idea clears the vault, every project gets its own Bible. 5 sections: premise, world, characters, style rules, outline. 1 real document every chapter has to answer to. And it's not just abstract structure either. It sets real chapter length targets by genre. Crime chapters run 1,200 to 1,500 words. Romance runs 1,800 to 2,200, and most of the others land around 1,800, and it's forward only. If I edit it, that never rewrites a chapter I already wrote, only what comes next. There's a separate AI judge that checks every finished chapter against it independently. Funny enough, I actually have a file called the Genre Architecture Bible, and it's not even this stage. It's a totally separate book that skipped this whole process. Naming things is hard. That's the Bible. Back to the assembly line. 3 writers draft is up next. Once the Bible's set, the actual writing happens. And this part surprises people. 3 real AI models draft the same chapter at the same time. DeepSeek, Hermes 3405B, and Uriali's fine-tuned specifically for fiction. All 3 draft the same chapter in parallel. There's actually a 4th model, Kimi K3, sitting in the code right now, benched. Real logged reason. It spent 691.9 seconds thinking on a benchmark chapter and came back with literally nothing. I actually had a writer get rate limited mid-run once, Uriali, back on July 27th. It killed the whole chapter. Real bug. So I fixed it. Now a round only fails if all 3 go down, not just one. And every chapter that passes review becomes an actual Google Doc, named and filed automatically, not a database row. A real file I can open. That's 3 writers draft. Back to the assembly line. Editors and judges is up next. Nobody grades their own work here. 3 different AIS vote on which draft is best: Claude, Gemini, and GPT. Majority wins, Claude breaks ties, and they're not allowed to invent new sentences while they're at it. Editors can only select and arrange what's already been written. There's an actual banned phrase list of AI cliches none of them are allowed to use, and a hallucinated detail is an automatic strike against a draft. And before I pay for an AI to review anything, the system checks the length first. Cheap check before the expensive one. Then 2 more, completely separate AI judges, review it after that. And neither of them is the model that did the merge. That's on purpose. If a chapter keeps failing, it only gets 2 retries. After that, it stops and puts a human on it instead of just looping forever. That's editors and judges. Back to the assembly line. Human gate is up next. And the last step, every single time, is me. Nothing I publish goes out until I personally react with a checkmark in Discord, not a metaphor.
That's the actual approval system. The real message it sends says the book is drafted and passed editorial review, and to react with a check to approve it or an X to send it back, word for word, every time. The only code in my entire system that can mark a book done requires my name and a second independent database check to agree, so even a bug in my own code can't force something live. And if I don't answer in time, it asks again at 24 hours, then 48, then 72, capped at 3 total. It's not just gonna sit there forever either. That's human gate, and that's all 6 stages, start to finish. So that's the whole thing, start to finish. Idea in, human sign off out, every time. And this isn't some finished frozen system either. Right now I've got over 1,000 real lines of changes sitting uncommitted, still actively being built on. If you want me to break down any one of these steps deeper, let me know. I've got more.